Army Ranger Staff Sergeant Hannah Cole was keeping watch on the perimeter when a sudden call broke sharply over the radio. SEAL Team Alpha's commander was hit, pinned under heavy fire. Urgent assistance needed at once. Lieutenant Commander Nathan Ward had been leading his men across hostile ground when they walked into a carefully set ambush waiting for them. Hannah swung her rifle into place and sprinted to help with no pause for thought. Cole, that sector is swarming with dug-in hostiles, her squad leader warned. Sir, then that's exactly where we belong, Hannah shot back, charging straight into the fight. The SEAL officer whose life she tore back from the edge of death in savage close combat would later stand beside her 4 years on as her husband, proof that love can rise even through the haze of war. The scorching desert heat pressed down as forward operating Base Falcon in Ironwood Valley throbbed with the constant rhythm of operations carried out deep in contested terrain. Staff Sergeant Cole secured her gear and inspected her M4 for the 3rd time that morning, sticking to the meticulous weapon ritual that had kept her alive through 2 bloody tours across some of the world's hardest battlegrounds. Hannah had spent 4 years in the 75th Ranger Regiment, leading a squad responsible for base security and rapid reaction at forward positions across the region. Her role demanded relentless focus, since enemy fighters routinely probed American defenses hunting for the slightest gap they could exploit. That morning had felt routine, checking positions, coordinating with nearby units, and reviewing intel that pointed to potential hostile moves in the area. Hannah's team covered the eastern edge of the perimeter, the most likely path for raiders attempting to breach or strike the base. Cole, give me status on Sector 7, called Sergeant First Class Victor Shaw, the platoon sergeant responsible for all base defenses. All posts secure, sensors running, no contacts in the last 4 hours, Hannah reported as she finished her sweep of the fortifications her squad maintained around the clock. The 75th Rangers had built their legend through decades of demanding missions that required soldiers who could thrive and prevail deep in hostile territory. Hannah had enlisted with the Rangers because she wanted to serve where personal skill and raw grit meant the line between success and disaster. Her training had been unyielding. Advanced shooting, small team maneuvers, expertise with specialized weapons, plus the mental toughness required to endure relentless combat stress. But more than drills, Hannah had developed the instinct and determination to make instant choices when no standard guidebook held an answer. All squads, be alert. We've got friendly special operations moving through Sector 12, Shaw broadcast across the net. Stay sharp for emergency support calls. Hannah knew well that Spec Ops units often pressed beyond limits and at times needed fast backup when battles spiraled out of control. The Rangers filled that role, the rapid response teams whose arrival could turn certain failure into a fighting chance at survival. The distress signal broke suddenly at 1,147 hours, echoing on the channels set aside only for the most dire combat emergencies. All available units, this is SEAL Team Alpha, came the strained but steady voice of a radio operator whose calm couldn't hide the edge of desperation behind it. Our commander is badly hit. We're under heavy fire, immediate reinforcements, and medevac required. Hannah Cole's team was manning their line when the frantic call tore across their comms. The signal came through on emergency bands that meant American special operations were fighting to stay alive and needed backup right away from any force within reach. Cole, assemble your squad for deployment now, Victor Shaw ordered sharply over the net. SEAL Team Alpha is demanding urgent support, and we're the closest unit able to respond. Hannah had trained exactly for this kind of rapid action mission during her years in the Rangers. Reinforcement for special operations required regular troops to pivot instantly from guard posts into combat, often in terrain that allowed no room for planning. Squad, check weapons and ammo. We're rolling out to support operators under fire. Hannah instructed her team with calm firmness. This is the real thing, not some drill. The rushed briefing played out while Hannah's soldiers scrambled into full kit for rapid deployment. Intel indicated SEAL Team Alpha had been running a classified mission when they crashed straight into a far larger hostile force entrenched on ground that gave them clear tactical advantage. Team Commander Lieutenant Commander Nathan Ward is critically hit and can't assume command, Shaw reported swiftly. The unit is locked down under relentless fire and won't escape unless we intervene. Hannah absorbed the report while giving her own gear one final check. In combat, every fighter had to carry all the essentials to fight and survive since fresh supply mid-battle was rarely possible. Her loadout carried 210 rounds for the M4, 6 grenades, vital medical tools, plus the radios required to link with other elements and call in aid if needed. Cole, your squad takes the assault role, Shaw directed. Drive into the contact zone, break the enemy's hold, and secure Alpha's extraction. The mission embodied everything Hannah had been shaped for in her Ranger years. Fast response in support of elite teams, clashing with hostile fighters head-on, and bearing the duty of keeping Americans alive when failure meant dead comrades and broken families. Squad, mount up. We're bringing our people home, Hannah commanded, leading her troops toward the waiting helicopters that would fly them into a fight with a SEAL leader's life hanging by a thread. The ride to Alpha's position lasted 15 tense minutes over ridges threatened by enemy anti-air fire. Hannah studied the tactical map through the flight, knowing that a successful rescue required flawless sync between multiple moving parts on terrain tilted toward defenders. 2 minutes to landing zone, the pilot warned over comms. Be aware, hostile units remain in direct contact with friendlies in this sector. Hannah could already hear the sharper cracks of gunfire as they closed in, undeniable proof that Alpha remained locked in battle and that the risk weighed just as heavy for them as for the Rangers rushing in. Squad, stay on your training, Hannah told her troops as the helicopter began its descent. We go in hard, seize fire superiority, and get our people out, no stunts, just soldiers doing their duty. The bird touched down in a small clearing about 200 meters from Alpha's last marked grid and immediately drew fire from insurgents dug into the high ground. Hannah's squad spilled out under fire, forming a perimeter while gauging the field around them. Contact front, shouted Specialist Lopez, Hannah's machine gunner, as hostile weapons opened from fortified nests with commanding lines over the landing site. Hannah realized instantly they faced the same deadly trap that had pinned Alpha, outnumbered by fighters dug into hardened defenses with the advantage against Americans pushing blind. Squad, set a base of fire and advance by bounds toward Alpha's location, she ordered, shifting into small unit tactics designed to counter static defense with movement and suppression. The push toward Alpha's grid forced Hannah's squad to cross open ground under fire, but their only hope was to keep moving quickly enough to deny insurgents time to fall back into even stronger positions. Hannah led from the front, relying on cover and concealment drilled into her since the start of Ranger training. Every motion was chosen to cut exposure while keeping the speed needed to reach Alpha before their fight collapsed entirely. Cole, I've got eyes on the SEALs, came the report from Corporal Walker, her point man who had pushed forward far enough to spot Lieutenant Commander Nathan Ward's unit. Status? Hannah asked while moving across terrain that offered almost no shelter from enemy fields of fire. For SEALs holding the line, team leader looks gravely injured and unable to move. Hostiles have them encircled on 3 sides. Hannah knew pulling them out required clearing the fighters boxing them in, because any retreat through that much fire would mean casualties the wounded commander couldn't endure. Squad, we're driving straight through, she declared, making a hard choice that could either save Alpha or cost her own Rangers dearly. The push meant moving head-on into fire while keeping tight coordination to avoid friendly hits once the fight closed to short range. Hannah spearheaded the attack, firing suppressive bursts and maneuvering with precision, tearing apart insurgent strongholds with sheer aggression. Her own clash in the chaos displayed the close-quarters skill her training had ingrained in her. She cut down 3 insurgents herself with steady rifle fire and controlled movement as they pushed on toward Alpha's position. SEALs, this is Ranger Rescue Element, Hannah shouted as her squad smashed through enemy defenses. We're coming to you. She reached Lieutenant Commander Ward and found him conscious, but gravely injured, riddled with wounds and in urgent need of surgical extraction. Commander, I'm Staff Sergeant Cole, 75th Rangers, she said while quickly gauging his condition as her squad set up defenses to cover the pullout. Sergeant Cole, Ward replied weakly, "My men are pinned down and I can't move. You have to get them clear." "Sir, we're taking everyone, and that includes you," Hannah answered, applying immediate aid to stabilize him while directing movements to pull out both Alpha and her Rangers. The retreat demanded flawless timing between the helicopters, her squad's suppressive fire, and the precise maneuvers that kept the entire force shifting toward the LZ under fire. Hannah herself carried Ward to the evacuation bird, making sure his wounds didn't worsen during the frantic dash. "Medevac inbound, 30 seconds out," she called, overseeing the last phase as her squad blasted away at enemy positions. All personnel were lifted without further loss, and Ward received instant treatment that preserved his life and allowed him to recover fully for later service. "Cole, that was exceptional leadership in combat," Ward told her as medics carried him into the chopper. "You saved both my unit and my life today." Hannah's rescue showed exactly why the 75th Ranger Regiment ranked among the finest reaction forces, proving that line infantry could reinforce special operations when led by soldiers of rare skill and courage. For years later, Hannah picked up a call from a voice she knew at once, though she hadn't heard it since that firefight. "Sergeant Cole, this is Commander Ward," came the familiar tone over the line. "I'm not sure if you recall me, but you saved my life during a rescue 4 years back." "Of course I remember, sir. How are you?" "Doing well, thanks to you. I was hoping you might like to have dinner with me sometime. I owe you more than I can repay, and I'd like the chance to thank you face to face." That invitation grew into a bond neither Hannah nor Nathan had expected when their paths first crossed in a combat zone. They found shared values, common ground, and respect born under the hardest conditions imaginable. Their connection grew slowly, built on trust forged when Hannah risked her life to pull Nathan from the fight. Both understood the costs and demands of service, giving them a bond beyond the usual trials faced by civilian couples. 3 years after that first dinner, Lieutenant Commander Nathan Ward and Staff Sergeant Hannah Cole married in a ceremony filled with SEALs and Rangers, the comrades who had survived the mission that had bound them. The wedding proved that sometimes the deepest love stories are born in the darkest places, written by those who believe protecting others is worth any sacrifice. Hannah had saved Nathan's life by charging into fire without hesitation. Nathan had saved Hannah from the emptiness that often haunts a soldier's life, giving her the partnership that made them stronger together. Their marriage became the joining of two warriors who had faced ultimate pressure and found wholeness in each other, strengthening their service to the nation. Some rescues save bodies, others save hearts, proving love can take root even where survival is uncertain. Hannah Cole had carried out a mission that returned not only a SEAL commander, but also her future husband. The battle that tied them together also showed them the greatest fights are for one another. Their wedding day proved that those who fight shoulder to shoulder belong side by side, and that love forged in war is the strongest bond for a lasting union. Hannah and Nathan would continue to serve their country, but now as one, proving that the true power of the military lies in people willing to sacrifice for each other. The rescue had saved a single life. The love that followed enriched two and built a union that would serve America for decades to come. Sometimes the most vital missions are those that bring souls together instead of pulling them apart. Hannah Cole had proven that Rangers were always ready. Whether the task meant pulling a SEAL commander from death or forging the bonds that carried them through careers devoted to service. The 4 years between rescue and marriage proved that ties born in fire could endure a lifetime. Love had found its way. Even amid war, the mission was reviewed by senior leaders as a textbook study of small unit leadership under crushing pressure. Hannah's split-second calls in the fight showed the initiative and bravery that made the Ranger Regiment one of the most effective quick-reaction forces in the force. Her ability to read complex battlefields, make choices under fire, and steer her squad while extracting the wounded earned her high honors and a recommendation for advanced schooling. 6 months later, Hannah was selected for the Ranger School's Advanced Small Unit Leadership course, where she taught the very principles she had applied during the rescue of Lieutenant Commander Nathan Ward. The curriculum included case studies from real missions, with her operation highlighted as proof that initiative and precision could overcome overwhelming odds. Yet Hannah's proudest success was not the medal pinned on her chest, but the relationship that had grown from respect forged in combat's harshest furnace. Nathan Ward fully recovered within 8 months, returning to duty with SEAL Team Alpha. His first mission after clearance was a covert strike that eliminated the insurgent leaders behind the ambush that nearly ended him. That operation gave closure for Nathan and his men, proof that those who struck American operators would face certain retribution. During his recovery, Nathan often thought of the Ranger Sergeant who had led the push that carried him out. Hannah's fearless actions and her willingness to risk everything for warriors she had never met left a mark far deeper than professional respect. The military world was small, and careers spent in service often crossed paths again in ways none expected. When Nathan and Hannah saw each other again at a joint exercise 3 years after the rescue, both immediately felt the bond born in that battle. Their relationship developed naturally, built on a shared understanding of sacrifice and the relentless demands of duty at the highest level. Both had faced combat that tested every inch of their training and spirit, giving them a connection few outside the uniform could ever know. Hannah Cole's continued service with the Rangers took her through multiple battlefields where she led operations that displayed the same tactical sharpness she had shown during Nathan Ward's rescue. Her standing across the special operations world grew steadily, built on consistent success that exceeded expectations. Nathan's SEAL career included missions that required cooperation with Ranger units, creating chances for teamwork that only strengthened their bond through shared field experience. Their engagement was announced during a joint ceremony honoring elite troops who had distinguished themselves through remarkable service. The news was met with real excitement, as many understood that bonds forged in combat often created the strongest partnerships. Their wedding took place at West Point's chapel, which had hosted countless military unions for more than 2 centuries. Guests included Hannah's Ranger Squad, Nathan's SEAL team, and the helicopter crews, medics, and support personnel who had taken part in the mission that tied them together. During their vows, both wore dress uniforms adorned with decorations earned through years of service, including the medals from the very rescue that first brought them face to face. The reception included speeches from comrades who had fought alongside them, recalling how their courage and skill earned respect across the Special Operations Brotherhood. Most meaningful of all, their families were present, fully aware that a military marriage demanded rare strength and sacrifice, since both would continue serving in roles that carried danger and long separations. Hannah and Nathan's union marked the joining of 2 warriors tested under fire who had found in each other a partnership strong enough to endure the demands of service. Their love story began in battle and ended with vows, a recognition of the trials ahead and the promise to face them together. Some missions save bodies, others save hearts, proving love can survive even where survival itself is uncertain and character is tested by sacrifice. Hannah Cole had carried out a mission that brought back not only a SEAL commander, but also her own future joy, proving that the most meaningful rescues are the ones that unite those destined to stand side by side. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Captain Joe's Stories for more powerful stories like this one.